Hello, welcome back. This is Jeff Byers, and this is Annie 235, and this is Module 10. We're completing this two-part series, and we're going to continue texturing the character clothing and all assets, waist down. So let's go ahead and go through it. This is going to be our introduction to Module 10. Okay, this is a two-part series. This is number 2. We're going to finish up our texturing of the entire character. That means anything you have left, whether it be hair, if you didn't turn that in Module 9, or anything else, any other accessory, you need to get that finished within this module to get any points for it. So make sure that you have turned everything in. And I've got pretty much everything that we had last time as far as tutorials and things like that, so nothing really has changed except we're just doing the lower part of the body. We're focusing on that this week, but if you have any other assets that you need to texture, please get those done and completed. We want the entire character textured and detailed. And you can see this stuff hasn't changed much. I might replace these with something different. But otherwise, everything is pretty much the same. I want to give you the same information, so you don't have to go back to Module 9. You can find all that stuff here. Right, how to detail your textures, how to texture your hair if you still haven't done that, and lighting basics that you need to have for lighting your character for your renders. I don't need any screenshots this time. I only need renders. We're going to have 6 of those, so those are the things you really need to really pay attention in, is this right here. This is not going to be a long introduction. It's going to be very short. So you're going to render all your images through the Arnold render engine. You're going to turn in 6 renders, the waist down, front, and back perspective. You're going to get a nice close-up of your shoes up close-up, front and back perspective, and front and back perspective of the entire character. I want to see the entire character. Now you're going to be turning that in with Module 11's discussion post. Alright, and we're going to render this at 2K square. Okay? So if you're not quite sure what I'm talking about, then let me open that up real quick. 2K square is when you go into your render settings. I'll take you through this really quick. So your Arnold render, make sure that's selected, Arnold render, and this is the settings you'll need to have if you're using the subsurface scatter. Now if you're not, your skin's going to look kind of fake looking. So make sure that you set your subsurface scatter to 4. You need it at least 4 or higher. Now don't go any higher because it'll take forever to render. It takes a long time to render now. I've got a fast computer and it takes about 13 minutes per render. And I'm assuming that yours is going to take probably 20 to 30, maybe even 40 minutes to render. So give yourself enough time to get those renders through, because that could take you most of the day to get all that done. Okay? So give yourself time to render. Alright. Now if you find your renders are really slow, you can speed them up by turning this down from 6 to something like 4 or even 3. 3 is going to give you kind of dirty, noisy shadows. Okay. So, and it will make your subsurface scatter look a little bit noisy too as well. So understand the lower you go, the faster it will render, but you're not going to get that nice skin tone. You're not going to get that nice shadow either. So just keep that in mind. And in the comments tab, we want to, in the image side, we want to go into 2K square. The reason for that is the HD 1080 we're wasting too much space, and I really want to concentrate on getting the most out of our renders. So basically it's just a square, and our character fits really nicely in there. And you don't want to cut your head off. You want to get it nice and composed. Basically what I have here, you have a little headroom and you have a little room on the bottom. you're too close if you do this. You don't ever want to crop off the top or the bottom of the character. You also don't want to give too much. That's too much headroom. Okay? So you want to give just a little bit of headroom on the top and the bottom, something like that. Like a 1/4 of an inch would be fine. Alright, then you render. Make sure you compose it, and if you're not quite sure if you're in the middle, you can click on our field chart and just get that set up in the middle. You can see I can get that set up real nice. Okay? Okay, so I got that in the middle, and I'm kind of at 11 right here, and 11 at the bottom, and that is great, so I just turn that off. It won't render, even if you forget to turn it off, it won't render that way. You need to have your mask, your gate mask on, and you also need your resolution gate, that way you can kind of see where you're at. Alright, that's basically it, and give me all the renders now. Another thing is, you want to have your objects separated. So if you give me a really good render from the front, a lot of you guys take your camera and go to the back. Don't do that, because that's where your shadows are. I don't want to see a shadow of your character. So what you'll have to do is you'll have to select your whole entire character. Make sure you save it and duplicate it before you combine. I'm going to go ahead and combine it. And this just makes it a lot easier for me now. Once I combine it, then I can take it and I can rotate the character. Okay? To do that, I just rotate it around. And there's my back view, and I have the same lighting. So those of you that turn in really dark lighting, I will take points off. So rotate your character, okay, not your camera, okay. All right, just rotate your character. You get your really nice lighting in the front, but then when you take your camera and go in the back like this, it doesn't look good. Okay, all right. So just keep that in mind. All right. Alright, cool. Alright, so that's basically it. Again, if it looks familiar from the last time, it is, because I wanted to keep everything up here for you guys. It's just, we're just part 1 and part 2. This is the second part. We're doing the lower part, so you may want to have this. And some of you are already completely finished with your characters, which is fine. But make sure that you do the best work you can. Don't rush through this stuff. So just make sure that you take your time. And so here's what we got for turn-in instructions. Make sure you understand how I'm going to grade you too as well. It's very simplistic. There's only like 4 items in here. So you've got make sure you turn in your character modeling and texture mood boards. Okay, I need that reference. Okay, so this is our last piece of our character as far as modeling and UV mapping and texturing, so I need to have that texture mood boards from you, and I will count that. That will be worth points this time. So even though you've turned that into me before, it's been way back, so I need to have that again as I grade you to see how close you came to your character reference. Alright, you will also turn in your completed character as an MB, FBX, or OBJ file format. And you need to turn in all your texture maps. Okay. So I'm not going to grade you on your UVs. I've already done that. So all I need now is your color, your metallic, roughness, and normal maps. So basically 4 types of maps that I need. Okay. Now depending on if you did how many UVs you did, you're going to times that by 4. So if I've got 6 UVs, we're going to have quite a few texture maps. Okay. Alright, so you're going to turn in 6 renders this time. Okay, so basically from the waist down, the shoes close up, front and back on all these, and the entire character front and back. And your resolution will be 2K square. Okay, I showed you how to do that. Lighting and rendering, of course, I'm going to be grading you on that, so make sure your lighting looks good. If it's too dark, you get points off. If overly bright, then points are taken off. Try to get the nicest render as you can, because it's really hard to see your textures when it's dark, so I want a well-lit character. Now, this is for turn-in purposes. Now, obviously, if you are creating a specific look for a scene, then you could get away with a lot more, but I really need to see enough of your texturing, otherwise I can't grade it properly. And if it's too dark, then of course I'm going to grade you down automatically. I want it to look good. And I've got, if you have questions, of course, of that, I've got these renders here. You can see firsthand how I want your renders to look. Yeah, they look flat, but that's how I grade you on your texturing. I would never light this way for film or for game. Okay, there's just not enough contrast. But and of course, you want to bring it into Photoshop and tweak it out. We've talked about that before. I don't say that every single time we deliver stuff and turn stuff in. I mean, that's just a given. You should be doing that automatically. Okay, you should never just take your render and send it out to the public. Right? These are just instructor examples showing you exactly what I'm looking for, and basically, you know, they're in the T-pose. We haven't rigged it yet. That's coming up. But just keep in mind, I want a front view of the entire character and back view of the entire character. And then, of course, these are the renders that I need, front and back, waist down, and then close-up of your shoes, whatever you end up doing with that. Plus, it kind of gives me an idea what your texture looks like. Okay? I will grade down if you guys don't give me textures. Just giving me a plain shirt with no texture on it is not a good idea, okay? Because you're really not taking the time to, you know, because if you look at a shirt, it's got threading in it, and that's the beauty of Substance Painter. You can do all that stuff in there in Substance Painter. That's the whole idea. Don't get lazy and just throw materials on there and call it a day. I really want you guys to go in there and try to get those textures looking nice, whether you have pockets like what I have here, or back pockets, or seams, like I got seams on the side, I got seams on the shirt. Show that stuff off, and you know, and any other type of work like stitching or anything else you want to show, this is the time to do it. Okay. These modules are not that hard. Texturing is not that hard. It's time consuming, and if it's not time consuming, you're not doing it right. Okay. Your stuff will not look as nice. So this is the time to start detailing stuff off. If you don't have a lot of modeling, you know, I wanted to keep it very simple. And this is way different from what I did here. This is your first character. This is probably my 20th or 30th character. Okay, it takes a long time to work yourself up into that, and it takes you a long time to work yourself up to something like this. Okay, so just keep that in mind. But I want you to be, I show you this stuff here, or some of my own work that you see up on top. I share that with you because I want you guys to get excited about doing more. Okay? All right? But I'm only asking, I'm only requiring you to do simplistic, you know, things right now. And I know because the reason for that is that you can get overwhelmed really quickly by wanting to do like intricate armor and stuff like that. You'll never be able to finish that stuff in time. We only have a limited time. Now, on your own, now that you know how to create and model, you can go back and do all this really crazy stuff when you're not in school, like when you have a break this winter. And I'd love to see the stuff. Send it over to me. I'd love to see your work. But right now, during class, and some of you are working and stuff like that, I only expect that you do a terrific job on a simplistic form. Okay, so spend your time on that and getting those textures in and having your character look as photoreal as possible. Obviously, this is a stylistic character. I know it's not going to be photoreal, but what you want to do is you want to add all that detail to the face, you know, the freckles and the demarcations and the blemishes and the hair. You know, I want you to spend time texturing and really bring your character to life. That's the idea. All right, so the main structure is not changed. You're going to create a main folder, and you're going to have your first and last name, Andy235, in Module 10. Your scenes folder will have the MB, FBX, and OBJ files. And the source images will have all the textures in there as PNGs or JPEGs. I prefer JPEGs, they're smaller. And then the 6 renders, you'll need to have those. And make sure you put your because I'm grading your mood board in here. Okay, so make sure you take your character modeling texturing mood boards and place it, okay, into either your source images folder or your renders folder. Okay, you'll go ahead and put everything into the main folder, and then you'll zip it up and you'll turn it into me for module 10. Alright, I really don't do any videos anymore, turn in videos, because I think you guys understand and know how I like you to turn in your work in, and I can just give you these really quick instructor examples, and this is exactly the type of lighting I'm looking for. Okay, it's very flat. Yes, I would never use it for film or anything like that, but it's great for grading. Okay, alright, fantastic. Alright guys, have a great week. And I hope you're having fun, and I hope you enjoyed texturing your characters. Yes, it's challenging at times, but just hang in there with it, and we'll continue working. And we're gonna work on blend shapes next time in module 11. So you really have to have your texturing completely finished before we can move on to that. So I try to break this up. I could have easily had you guys do the whole entire character and have it textured in 1 week, but I wanted to give you this time to you, for those of you that are behind, to catch up, and those of you that are ahead to really focus and do some really great job in texturing. If you rush through this, hey man, that's your thing, but if you can do more, do more. Just go out and go above and beyond, and turn it in. You can turn it into eventually turn it into kind of a portfolio piece. Okay. All right. I'll see you guys next week in Module 11.